Well, thank you everyone for being here for our local control and accountability plan engagement forum. Hola, si necesita servicios de traducción de idiomas, haga clic en el icono de interpretación. So thank you so much for being here, for your time. Your voice matters. And I want to start off by first just really thanking Justin Swenson, the Stockton Unified School District's webmaster, for helping to put the logistics and this whole webinar together. He is so valuable and the services are greatly appreciated. I would also like to thank Ms. Carmen Lopez Lozano. She is the one of our district's interpreter translation specialists, and she'll be providing simultaneous translation in Spanish during this engagement forum. So thank you again, and hola, si necesita servicios de traducción de idiomas, haga clic en el icono de interpretación. Please, throughout this process, if you have questions, all your input, your suggestions, your feedback, please put any questions in the Q&A box, and I'll make sure to have all those questions said out loud and answer them to the best of my ability. Please put all your feedback and suggestions in the chat. We will save that chat and make sure that is shared and part of the development process of our local control and accountability plan. So I hope all are healthy and doing well, and thank you again for being here. The mission of Stockton Unified School District is to graduate every student college, career, and community ready. And in doing so, we'll lift all youth out of circumstances of poverty and scarcity, really making sure to support all students with the needs that both in the academic and social emotional journey and experiences they have in the education that they're provided every day within Stockton Unified School District. So there are three main parts of the local control funding formula process. The first part is the funding. So the funding that the local control and accountability plan really addresses and discusses and explains how are being used are the local control funding formula funds. These funds are provided to school districts by the state of California for local control to make sure that as a district, we are addressing the needs of our students, supporting the needs of our staff, and addressing and increasing the supports and resources provided to families and outreach to community as well. The plan itself is the local control and accountability plan. This plan is used to describe the district highlights, what we're really focusing on and celebrating, the district needs, the areas we need to continue to improve, and the resources that we're using to address those areas of need. And then really looking at all of our goals that we're setting and the ways in which we are providing increased or improved support specifically to our high priority student groups focused on our low-income students, our foster youth students, our English learner students, our students with exceptional needs. And then the accountability part of this whole process is connected to the California School Dashboard, which the state provides a dashboard that provides data really describing how the district is doing with getting students to school every day. So addressing those chronic absenteeism issues, making sure that we're increasing students' connectedness and feeling welcomed and included at school with positive school cultures, decreasing school suspensions, increasing student success rates in high school by increasing graduation and increasing college and career indicator readiness. So really making sure students have everything they need to be successful in high school and connecting with all of the courses and the exams and resources needed to graduate high school, college, and career ready. And making sure that we're providing increased supports to address English learner progress and making sure that English learners are getting the designated and integrated learning experiences they need to be successful at the exams, as well as the academic experiences, and continuing to progress to English proficiency and reclassification and academic success, as well as looking at the standardized assessments for math and English language arts, those state assessments that are provided to 3rd through 8th grade and 11th grade students. And so those are the three parts of the local control funding formula funds. The 8 state priorities aligned with the local control funding formula funds that are outlined within the local control accountability plan, and the funds that are provided, those local control funds, the LCFF funds to the state, by the state to the school district, focus 3 different areas. The first area is conditions for learning. So this is priority 1, basic services, priority 2, implementation of state standards, and priority 7, course access. Really making sure that all students have access to the courses that they need to be successful in the resources as well. The second area of focus is student outcomes. That's focusing on priority 4, student achievement, and priority 8, other student outcomes. Really making sure students have access to electives, career technical education experiences, and college and career indicator supports. And then last is making sure for student and family engagement. Priority 3, parent, guardian, and family involvement. Priority 5, student engagement. And priority 6, school climate. And these are the 8 state priorities in which the LCFF funds are provided to school districts to help support and increase and improve the success, growth, and development of students, staff, and families, making sure that we are providing a successful, safe, and inclusive learning environment for all. So in the ongoing outreach, support, feedback, input, engagement, and development of the LCAP, aligned with the 8 state priority areas, we're finding that the needs-based focus very much for basic services has been focused on the feedback we provide, been provided by stakeholders, students, certificated and classified staff, parents, guardians, and family members, community members, is for basic service really increasing and improving student access to curriculum, textbooks and learning resources, and instructional materials for both students, for staff, and for families to have to support students' academic and social emotional success and development. And we're focusing on implementation of common core state standards. The needs-based focus feedback has been on ensuring access to high quality curriculum, learning materials, and supporting materials. So different forms of books, of online apps and resources, of increased arts and enrichment opportunities to really make sure that students have an opportunity to engage in learning at a high level. And then for the parent, guardian, and family engagement focus, really having ongoing parent, family, and guardian communication. So the district constantly making sure that we're posting information, having resources on our websites, workshops and trainings, ongoing newsletters and communication and outreach, connecting parents, families, and guardians with information, with communication about how to support students, how their children are doing academically, supports for social emotional development and growth, and the different areas of just what's going on across the district and having that ongoing messaging and outreach happening. And then when it comes to student achievement, really making sure we have increased academic supports for students so that we have after school enrichment, tutoring, after school programs, that we have ongoing student success teams and student assistance program teams really focused around having conversations and collaboration and discussions around what do we need to do as a system to increase and improve supports to students, and what are the opportunities we need to continue to provide after school to make sure that students have access to tutoring, academic support, credit recovery, after school programs, and enrichment opportunities. When we're talking about student engagement, making sure we have those extracurricular activities, those clubs, events, sports, arts, and programs constantly being provided to students. We're focused on school climate, that idea of the social and emotional learning, that we providing social emotional learning curriculum and learning experiences, restorative justice and trauma-informed practices, circle of friends support, life skills, and various other forms of PBIS, positive behavior intervention and support systems to make sure that students are coming to school and they feel welcome, they feel included, they feel excited about their experiences that they're having at school, and within their journey and experience of learning together. When we're talking about course access, really making sure that students have access to all the core contents and access to specialized programs, such as Advancement via Individual Determination, AVID, International Baccalaureate, the IB program, Career Technical Education and Visual and Performing Arts pathways, and Peer Leaders Uniting Students, the PLUS program. So making sure that students have access to leadership opportunities, academic support and college readiness, as well as career readiness, and those opportunities for that global preparation to be successful in whatever career, college, and life path that students want and desire for their post-secondary after high school graduation experience. And then when we're focusing on other student outcomes, the feedback we're getting is really connecting that classroom learning to real world and job-based skills and experiences, and how important those experiences are to provide to students. I will stop real quick and to see if there's any questions or answers that any questions that's been posed that I can answer. I do not see any at this time. Please feel free anytime during the presentation to ask any questions. I will do my best to answer any of those questions. And please, throughout the presentation in the chat, put feedback and input that you have. I see one question is, will summer school start the first week of June, offered to all students? That's a great question. I am not exactly sure, as I know that planning is currently ongoing around the focus of what summer school is going to look like and when it's going to be offered. I don't know the exact start date for summer school, but I do know that summer school will be offered expanded learning opportunities throughout the month of June. They will be offered to all enrolled Stockton Unified School students. And those experiences will be focused on really providing learning recovery, learning support, and really sort of that academic learning experience to extend that process into the summer. So there will be summer school offered. It will be offered to all students, and that plan is being currently created. And so there's not a set date that I'm aware of at this time. Will any programs be affected for next school year because of the pandemic? Great question. As far as school programs being affected because of the pandemic, my understanding is that the programs moving forward will continue to be provided, supported, and students will have access to them, the programs that are offered across the district. Different programs as far as when we're talking about who's offering them and when they're being offered may see some shifts, as far as some will still be offered through distance formats to make sure to increase access for students. Some will be in person, some will be both distance and in person simultaneously. And so those plans and strategic focus on what that will look like next year is currently being developed, and really making sure that we have both social emotional and academic programs that will be provided, be ongoing, and really support the needs of students and the professional learning of staff, and workshops and training support families, parents, and guardians as well. The question is, how about the funds? The funds will not be directly impacted by the pandemic per se. The state continues to provide different forms of grants, and focused on the local control accountability plan, the local control funding formula funds, those are set and have not been impacted by the pandemic or the loss of ADA enrollment of students, as next year the district is held harmless for enrollment purposes and will continue to get the set amount of local control funding formula funds, and the school sites and their site allocations will also get the funds provided that were set. This will be live on campus. Oh, how about the funds? I'm not sure when the question is, this will be live on campus. Programs will be live on campus. Summer school process is still being worked out. My understanding is that it will be an in-person offering of academic experiences. However, I know that those conversations are still ongoing, and those plans will be released soon as the plans are developed by the different leadership teams and staff collaboration that are working on those systems currently. So thank you very much. So and I'll continue to answer questions as I move forward. So when we're talking about student data, it's very important to look at those indicators and those grades that support moving forward really shows the student's ability to be successful moving forward. So we're learning to read up to the third grade, and we're reading to learn and continuing to increase our ability to comprehend, uh, be able to understand complex understanding of content and apply our knowledge. So in third grade right now, with our district assessment data, iReady data, in English language arts, we're seeing that in the fall, we had about 28% of students who had taken the assessment on track to be at grade level by the end of the year and on track for their growth, and 26% that took it in the winter. And when we're looking at math, 33% of the students were on track and 23% in the winter. And we can see with the percentage of students that are 2 or more years below grade level, that we range at around the 51% in fall, 43% in English language arts, and in math, 48% in fall and 39% in winter. With, as you can see, with the percent of no growth since the winter of 2019 to 2020, so that 1 year growth, is really looking to continue to see that there's going to be lots of needs for learning recovery, accelerated learning, and learning interventions to really support the needs of students, transitioning from distance learning to in-person learning, and really helping students to catch up from their learning experiences from this year, where the teachers, instructional staff, the assistants, all certificated and classified staff, and the families and students have been working so hard to support students within distance learning, and we'll continue to make sure that we're providing those increased supports in that process of transitioning into in-person learning and beyond. We can see at the bottom the trends of the state test, the CAPS data, showing that from year to year, we continue to show growth in third grade with a need of students who are meeting those grade level expectations and standards to increase the supports to increase proficiency levels of understanding. When we're talking about English learner progress and reclassification rates, the first 3 rows, the 2019-20 through 2017-2018, show the achievement that students have had, English learners, on the English language proficiency assessment for California, the LCAP assessment. And so that we see level 4 is the well-developed. That's the proficiency criteria for reclassification, for really showing that we're providing those supports to English learners for their ability to be English proficient and to reclassify and continue to get supports. We see that we need constant areas of growth in that reclassification and those supports that are being provided both inside the designated English language development time that happens every day, and then throughout the day, the integrated English language development academic supports that are being provided to English learners, as well as the staff and families in the training and workshops and resources provided to increase and improve the academic experiences that our English learners are receiving. When we're looking at the 9th grade, so like demonstrating mastery of algebra concepts and that application of understanding, we're seeing that the Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry test experiences in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade continue to show that we have lots of areas of growth and supports in the preschool through 8th grade, math, concept, application, instruction, and learning experiences to make sure we're preparing students to be successful for the rigor of math in high school. And when we see connected to that to the graduation rates, we see that we continue to find ways to support students in their ability to be successful in high school. And when we're looking at the graduation rates, continue to increase those percentages, as last year in 2020, we had about 77% of our high school seniors and 5th year cohort students graduate from high school. And so when we're looking at college and career readiness, that idea of those indicators of making sure that students are passing their state standardized tests with a 3 or greater, either passing advanced placement AP tests, passing their capstone, their career technical education, 3 course sequence tests, making sure that they are taking college dual enrollment courses, getting their seal of biliteracy, their leadership courses, all those passing the A through G courses for inclusion or admission into the University of California and California State University system. For those students that are graduating from high school and are eligible to be seen as meeting the college or career indicators and being ready, we see that we have a lot of areas of growth and support needed to make sure that we have a system that is providing the resources, the experiences, and the improved access for students to be college and career ready upon their graduation from high school, aligned with their experiences of the courses, access, and exam results that they're having in high school. So lots of supports are needed, and that's why we're sharing this data to constantly support the development in those areas. When we're talking about the need for students to be at school every day, chronic absenteeism is when students are missing 10% or more of the days they're enrolled in school. We continue to see that we have areas in which we need students to increase their attendance at school. We have been decreasing the suspension rates and continue to focus on how to increase the positive school culture and climate, and positive behavior interventions and ways that we support students through restorative and trauma-informed care practices, to increase student connectedness at school, students' inclusion and support, and really making sure that we're increasing, as you can see from the SBAC, which is the California State standardized test results. When you look at SUSD, our district results, compared to the county, San Joaquin, compared to the state, California, of the percentage met or exceeded standards, we continue to look at how we can improve these areas of meeting the students' needs, providing the professional learning and development needed for our staff, and building meaningful partnerships with our parents, guardians, and family members and community partners to support the academic and social emotional needs for all students being successful in their academic experiences at school. So when we're looking at, well, what are these expected annual measurable outcomes? The yellow highlighted, that represents so the LCAP is a 3-year plan. So it's from 2021 will be the first year of this plan, beginning in July or August of this year. And the end of the plan will be 2024. So in June of 2024. So the highlighted areas are what our goals are to reach by the end of the 2023-2024 school year. And what you see here is we're looking to increase the academic success of all of our students. Goal 1 really looks at student academic achievement, and we're really looking at how we're providing access to core study for students and access to those college and career readiness experiences. Increasing our English learners' progress and proficiency levels. Increasing from the prior year students of passing their advanced placement exams with a 3 or higher. Increasing our 11th grade math proficiency rates. And really making sure that we're providing a broad course of study that's supporting 3rd grade high school graduates, and increasing completion graduation rates of students that have their access and capstone experience success for their the career technical education certification completion. And these percentages represent about an increase of 3 to 4% every year. And that's what we're looking at. It's just a constant moving forward of progressing, growing, and developing, improving. With goal 2, you see with equitable learning environments that provide the experiences, access, and supports for each student at the level at which they need to be successful, and access for them to feel included and supported, is really making sure that we have the staff in place for all learning and curriculum access for all students, that we have English learners that are provided with both designated and integrated English learners development experiences, that teachers we have appropriately signed with the certification that they need to teach the subject matter that they're teaching and the students that are in their classes, making sure that we have access to curriculum for all students, making sure that our facilities are in good repair, building up the positive school climates through, and therefore decreasing suspension rates, decreasing expulsion rates, and really increasing student connectedness to school. And in doing that, on goal 3, having those meaningful partnerships. Maintaining or increasing the number of opportunities for our parents, guardians, and family members to be engaged, to be involved, to be participating. Increasing the number of student success team meetings and having lots of collaborative conversations with staff across the school site focused on looking at specific student needs and building intervention plans and supports and data cycles of analysis to really find out what is that root cause that is challenging those students from progressing and developing, and finding collaborative ways to address those needs. Decreasing chronic absenteeism by increasing student attendance, and then making sure that we are decreasing dropout rates by maintaining and retaining students in our system, and increasing graduation rates for all students. So I'll pause here for a moment and see if there are some questions that I can answer. Let's see here. A question I have, there's one question. Does that curriculum access pertain to all students, including special education? Excellent question. Yes, definitely. The curriculum access is for all students. Special ed students are mainstream students first, and all students really means that all students have access to the curriculum, the learning, the adopted curriculum by our board of trustees that we use for all students to use as tools for learning across all of the content areas in their daily academic experiences. So yes, great question, and I appreciate that very much. So when we're talking about our LCAP, our local control and accountability plan, we have 3 goals that we focus on within our LCAP. And our first goal focuses on student academic achievement, really making sure we are increasing student achievement, that we're providing high quality first instruction, and supporting that first instruction by a multi-tiered system of supports to graduate every single student, every single youth scholar, college, career, and community ready. And so when we're talking about high quality first instruction, that means that universal instruction, learning experience that all students are being provided with in every class that they're in. When we're talking about college, career, and community ready, making sure that students have the skills, the knowledge, the experiences, and the prerequisites that they need to graduate from high school. And then upon graduation of high school, that they are confident, they are academically prepared, and that they are social, emotionally healthy through their experiences that they've had in Stockton Unified School District to prepare them for whatever college or career experience that they desire, and that they're ready to go out in the community and be a leader in that community. And the 4 priority, state priority focus areas that we cover with funds and our focus is really making sure we have student achievement, that students have access to broad course experiences, and have access to college and career and enrichment opportunities. So the first goal, we constantly are looking at, and so these funds right here are the funds that we are looking at and we have been providing. So when we're talking about total funds, those are the funds within the local control accountability plan that are covered and discussed. The S&C funds, those are supplementary and concentration funds. So there are 3 types of local control funding formula funds. There are the base funds. Those are the funds you get for every student enrolled in the district. There are supplementary LCFF funds. Those are funds the district gets to address the amount of students who are enrolled in the district that are identified as English learners, as foster youth, and as low-income students. And then concentration funds are if your district has enrolled 55% or higher of low-income English learners and foster youth within your district, then you get even more funds. So those are the supplementary and concentration funds that are principally used to focus on increasing or improving the services, resources, and experiences that those 3 groups of high priority students are experiencing and getting. And then the last column is about base or other funds. And so we're talking about student technology. We're really focusing on making sure every student has access to a laptop. And we've seen this year that it's very important that students have that opportunity, and the feedback we've received from staff, from students, from families, from community members, the importance for students to be able to check out those laptops and bring them to their place of residence and have it as a learning tool and resource to have both at their place of residence and at school, as well as how the Wi-Fi hotspot resources have really provided an increased access for students and staff, but focused on students within this conversation currently, to access learning, to access their ability to connect to the internet and resources. And then primary language support, making sure we have ongoing language development opportunities out of the Language Development Office, professional development and learning experiences, instructional coaching focused on English language development, both designated and integrated, translators and interpreter specialists that are providing resources of interpretation and translation services within meetings and documents and communication outreach. Make sure that we have lots of teacher collaboration time that is built in and happening every month, that we have data monitoring, both tools and resources and cycles of discussions so that we can inform our processes and our learning experiences to meet the needs of students, to have lots of opportunities for parent, teacher, family conferences that are happening, as well as school events focused on academic enrichment and school culture and climate experiences, and then built-in professional development, professional learning opportunities focused on meeting the needs of students and specifically those differentiated needs of our high priority student groups. Implementation of our professional learning community strategies. So really focusing on building up the opportunities for professional development, professional learning, and those cycles of data conversations focused around common formative assessments and assessment results so that we're progress monitoring. How are we doing? What do we want students to learn? How do we know when they've learned it? How are we responding when students are showing that they're challenged by what they're learning and their ability to demonstrate what they've learned? And how are we really challenging, stretching, and meeting the needs of students who have shown mastery? I'll stop for a second and see if there's any questions or comments. With LCAP, have a budget for computer repair so that we can say one-to-one. What about upgrades for classroom charging of laptops like Chrome carts? Great question. Yes, the LCAP does have that built in to address both computer repair and Chrome carts, as far as like where those carts are plugged in for charging, as well as with the increase of grant funds from the state, both CARE funds and different forms of in-person instruction, expanded learning grant funds. Computers, laptops have been ordered for all school sites to both refresh the laptop inventory that school sites have, and increase the charging and cart capability that sites have, and also support the instructional services department and technology and their staff and their ability to both image and repair the laptops that we have. Great question, I appreciate that. Goal 1 also covers instructional coaching. So making sure that we're providing instructional coaches to all school sites to work in collaboration and in partnership with school site staff and teachers, and really making sure that we are providing that embedded, that in-person during the day and after the day, collaboration and instructional support of being able to provide the highest quality first instruction possible to meet the academic and social-emotional needs of all students. Make sure we have after-school programs at our school sites, as well as making sure we're providing those programs that are both academic and enrichment focused. Are the 10th Action Service focusing on site allocation, making sure that we're providing school sites with their own budgets, with LCFF funds that allows the school sites to address their needs. So in conversations with the school site council, their English learner advisory committees, their leadership teams and staff, student focus groups, different forms of conversations that they're having with the community and their families that those schools serve. And so identifying with a really comprehensive and needs assessment approach, what are the needs of the school? How are the academic and social emotional needs of students being met? What are some of those challenges? And with these funds that are provided to the school sites, having the freedom and the autonomy for those school sites to support their students with these funds provided from the LCAP, specifically addressing those high priority student needs. Increasing our college and career preparatory opportunities. So make sure that we have career and technical education pathways at all the school sites, at the high schools, having programs such as Project Lead the Way, and different forms of after school programs and clubs and during the day supports that provides those STEM, those science, technology, engineering, and math experiences for students, as well as the training, conferences, and field trips for students to increase their understanding about college, about careers, about the skills that are needed and the admission requirements for college and different careers, and having software such as Zello to do career exploration and have students have discussions with their counselors and their teachers about the different jobs and careers that are offered and the ones that they're interested in, as well as an on-track spotlight report provided to all high school students and families about how students are doing in their high school academics, the different colleges with their current grades and exams, results and assessment results, that they would be competitive in being admitted into, and sort of what those students on track current path is and the courses that they need to take to make sure that they're graduating from high school with all the requirements. Making sure that we have special education assistive opportunities. So lots of forms of supports around increasing A through G, those so that course access at the high schools for our high priority students who are also identified with having individualized needs, and increasing those inclusion, so that those inclusive experiences within high school for students with different various special and exceptional needs. And then make sure we have library support so that we have Sora or e-reader access, so that students have access to checking out books that they can read on their laptops or whatever devices that they have or like to use. There's no late fees, and having just an amazing district librarian management support team that really focuses on making sure that curriculum is being checked out, laptops are being checked out, and that that central support is being provided to school sites in the both training and access to library, texts, and technology. And it's just, that team does an amazing job. They're a small team with a big lift, and they do a wonderful job. I will pause here to see if there are any questions. Well, this is also the time to both ask questions, and in the chat, please put any feedback, input, ideas of how you would like to see student achievement, those resources be increased or improved to address those areas of need of our students, to make sure that they have access to high quality first instruction. That as a system of education, Stockton Unified School District is providing the resources and experiences that are improved and increased to ensure that our high priority students, our English learners, our foster youth, our low income families and transition students, our students with exceptional needs, and all students are having those learning experiences that they need to be successful academically, and then continue to increase and improve their learning and their ability to apply and demonstrate what they've learned, as well as have a healthy social emotional development experience. So some questions. Has the district thought about creating any STEM schools, not just STEM? That is a great question. Or STEAM, I'm sorry, STEAM schools. So science, technology, engineering, arts, and math schools. There are definitely conversations around how we can integrate within the pathways and systems that we have, the ability to increase those experiences and improve those learning opportunities focused on the STEAM, the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math focus. I am not aware of any conversations around creating any types of specific focused STEAM schools, but I will share that feedback with the leadership team of the district and pass that idea and suggestion on. Another one is library support. What about those sites that don't have media specialists to run the libraries? What would that support look like? That's a great question. And that support really looks like making sure that there are systems in place at the schools to provide identified either sort of funds that can be make sure to address increased supports for staff or individuals who are there to help volunteer and support that training needed for them to be able to check out and have access to the library and books for students. The program is called Destiny, so the library support comes out and makes sure that someone on the staff or a central focus of support and systems is put into place so that there are protocols and systems for students to have access to check out books, as well as training around the e-reader, the SOAR programs, to make sure that students and staff and families have the understanding of how to access that program, as students will all and can check out any of those books. There's no late fees involved, and really increasing that support and access to online readers. So again, thank you very much, and continue to put any ideas or suggestions you have of through the LCAP process, how can we increase or improve the resources and services that we are providing, focused on providing high quality first instruction to increase student academic achievement. When we're focusing on goal 2 of the LCAP, we're talking about and focusing on equitable learning environments, providing equitable and healthy learning environments that enhance the social, emotional, and academic learning for all students, really utilizing a multi-tiered system of supports. So making sure equity, access for all, inclusion, involvement, participation, and resource that are focused on making sure that students have the learning experiences that set them up for success, make them feel included and valued, and make them feel the love for learning and the supports they need. And then when we see that there are challenges that students have, addressing those barriers or challenges and making sure that all students have the ability to come to school, enjoy their school experience, and have the ability to learn and grow at the proficient rate at which they need to meet the grade level that they're in. And this goal number 2 focuses on the 3 state priority areas of making sure there's basic conditions, just having access that students need to have the learning experiences that best set them up for success. Priority 2, state standards, making sure that all students have access to core curriculum and that English learners have access to not only core curriculum, but all of the other areas of supports and resources to increase their proficiency and English language progress and development. And then having priority 6, the school climate, having student engagement, feeling students are valued, involved, and having that positive behavior intervention supports in place to make sure that we have a safe, healthy, restorative, and trauma-informed care learning experience for all students. So in goal 2, like was asked earlier about the idea of computer replacement and upgrading and supports. Technology infrastructure and support really provides that support around fixing computers, making sure that staff has the computer access that they need to provide the learning and instruction and outreach, as well as making sure that the instructional support team and department, the IS department, has what they need staffing-wise and resource-wise to support district-wide the connectivity and computer replacement and just the fixing of computers for one reason or another, so that repair process is in place. We're talking about the second action service, really make sure we have high quality teachers, substitutes, administrators, and staff across the district to support the needs that we have within the district of talking about instructional support, training and development, professional learning, workshops, and ongoing access to resources to make sure that we have the flexibility to be at meetings that happen both during the day and then beyond the instructional day as well, to meet the needs of families. The third action, instructional technology solutions. That's making sure that we have a response software in place that allows for computer safety. So it allows for a screening process of any types of behaviors, of searches, of words that are flagged that would show a need for staff to outreach to family and students to make sure that students are well-being and healthy, that their mental health is being addressed, as well as that there are positive, respectful, and civically responsible conversations, communication, and discussions happening through the different processes of communication through the learning management systems. And then the basic instruction and teaching, staffing, making sure that we have staffing across the district that are baseline to make sure that everything is up and running, and the amazing certificated and classified staff are in place and doing the great work that they do every day to service the students and families in our community. And then making sure that we provide all-day transitional kindergarten and kindergarten experiences, as well as increased minutes for our middle school and high school experiences. I'll pause here for a moment and see if there are some questions I can respond to or answer. I see one comment is, that's awesome. Would be cool to have a computer repair CTE. I think that is a great idea. I know that there are some conversations, and I brought that up and shared those thoughts that have been ongoing from the feedback that's been provided, and would be both a great life experience as well as career-focused pathway to provide those experiences and opportunities for students to have the skills needed for that computer repair CTE. Do you know if we will continue to have Sora and iReady reading available after the pandemic? These weren't available before the pandemic. Great question. Yes, Sora will be ongoing. My understanding that iReady will be ongoing and available as well. I know that there are conversations around, curriculum supports and instructional resources, supplementary to increase and improve the resources to help recover learning and accelerate learning. But iReady is something that will continue to be supported and that will be accessible beyond this year and definitely going into next year. How about a special education college fair? It would allow parents to see what programs are out there for students, or even if the campus has enough ramps. It would be more inclusive than just having a student meet one-on-one with program specialists. I think that is a great suggestion. I will definitely provide that suggestion and share that collaboratively in different leadership meetings and to the executive cabinet, and share that need to increase the accessibility and conversations specific to special education and their exceptional needs, having those conversations and spaces of discussion, especially when we're talking about college fairs and career fairs. So I appreciate that very much. Next question. Hi, Dr. Sloan, you mentioned these funds could be used for after-school clubs, but I don't think the district has focused on recruiting our awesome teachers for the potential for new clubs. Since kindergarten through 6 students do not have access to art and PE teachers, why? After-school clubs can be extremely beneficial. Let's pump up the funds and make sure principals and admins are offering these opportunities to their teachers to engage our students in a wide range of after-school opportunities. Thanks. I really appreciate that. It is so important that our elementary and our primary students have access to both PE and art. I think some of the reasons why currently that access to arts and PE teachers is not there in such a large district as ours. I think the view has been, with a multi-subject credential, our teachers are viewed as the arts and PE teachers and just have so much of that they already provide. And so we've been looking at increasing the resources and supplementary funds to provide to those grade level teachers so that they are able to purchase the resources or experiences to bring in and integrate to the daily learning experiences, so that those students and those staff have what they need to provide arts and PE. But I will pass that on, that ongoing ask for increasing the resource and arts teachers for kindergarten through 6th grade specifically, as well as those after school clubs, having those conversations about providing those opportunities. The funds are definitely there. The sites are provided with funds, and then the state and federal department has funds for after school programs as well. to make sure that those experiences of enrichment are there, and those conversations I'll pass on to make sure that they're being included and being open and collaborative in having those discussions with site teachers and staff to make sure those experiences are opened up and being created. Next question, how about having assistance in grade levels 1 through 5 to assist the students who have been affected from the pandemic? So talking about those needs for looking at specifically recovery of learning, accelerated learning, having assistance in the classrooms. I know part with the LCAP process, we are definitely making sure to fund specifically bilingual assistance to support that support in the classroom for English learners, and that through different funds and supports through the expanded learning grant that the state has provided, really looking at how to increase or improve the both training and supports of our paraprofessionals or assistants. And I'll pass on that suggestion as well. Thank you very much. We currently have first music instrument repair program in the state, second in the nation. Right now, the teacher is the only music instrument repair technician in Stockton. So yes, that program exists at Chavez, and students really do enjoy that program. And then what sort of mental health services are in the works right now? Great question. So moving on, and then I will definitely answer that question in just one moment. So the idea of like, what are the works and what are the mental health services we currently have? We make sure to have lots of community relations and parent, family, and guardian support. So outreach with parent liaisons, community assists, specifically focuses on our foster youth, families in transition, English learners, low-income students, and really improving and increasing the services being provided to those students and families, and making sure that all students have access to subacute health services. So increasing the wellness centers at all of the high schools, increasing the healthy assists and school nurse supports at the schools, making sure that we are having both mental health clinicians that support all the school sites, trauma-informed and restorative schools, trainings, workshops, and resources that are ongoing this year and next year, increasing the ethnic studies opportunities, so really helping students to understand the ability to express and validate, value, and celebrate who they are, the cultures and that they identify with, the historical struggles that have occurred within both our nation, our state, our city, our school systems, and how we continue to improve the supports through school counseling, both on an academic and a social emotional guiding supports. So moving forward, making sure that we we're creating mental health wellness kits right now to provide to families, trainings and workshops to provide of how to use these kits, providing ongoing sort of mindfulness activities to help students and families and staff find healthy ways of slowing down their feelings and their emotions and expressing, having community circles to discuss and connect as a learning community, and identify certain needs that students have and provide them with those resources. Make sure to partner with outside community resources to connect families and students with increased and improved resources that we don't currently or have the ability to provide currently within the district. Making sure to have ongoing conversations around mental health needs, and having those opportunities to have workshops, discussions, and ongoing family and student supports that are in place to address those needs. And so really continue just to build up the services and resources we have focused on mental health. And then upon transition back to in-person, a 10-day social emotional learning curriculum and resources program has been developed and provided to all teachers. They'll be supported both by mental health clinicians, counselors, and teachers will provide those supports, as well as ongoing units of study of learning to identify building up students' abilities to have a learning community that's supportive, that's inclusive, that is trauma-informed, and that is focused on ongoing conversations about health and wellness. So really appreciate those questions. Right now, please, if you have any if you have any feedback or input, please put that in the chat about ways to increase and improve the resources of creating equitable learning environments. So the ways that we're making sure to support students both academically and their social emotional well-being, how we're supporting families and staff and all the needs that they have in focused on supporting students academically and their social emotional needs. And I will look at any questions or comments and answer those at this time as well. And so I'm looking right now, and it appears that right now there are none. So I'll just continue to look, and if any questions pop up, I'll make sure to answer them. Thank you for continuing to put input and feedback, both for goal 1, what are the resources that we need to increase and improve, focused on increasing student academic achievement, and then goal 2, what are the ways that we need to increase or improve your feedback and input and suggestions for making sure we are addressing all of the academic and social emotional needs of our students and our families and support of our staff. And specifically really focusing on those areas of support to improve and increase for our low income, our English learners, and our foster youth, and our students with exceptional or special needs. All right. I see. I think it's a comment. Hi again, Dr. Sloan. I do believe that every school needs to have a school garden. Please provide opportunities for our sites to build these outdoor learning environments for all our students at our school sites. I really appreciate that. I will share that feedback. The school gardens are so important. We have many schools with school gardens, and many schools, if they so desired, definitely possibly have the space or with their site allocations, and we continue to look also at maybe providing other funds to provide, raised beds as learning environments within the school garden really allows for that hands-on learning. So I appreciate that feedback, and I will definitely share that. I see a question might have just popped up. Yes. So before I go to goal number 3, it says special education families need to be provided knowledge and support. Right now, support is focused on specialty schools like PAC and Walton Special Center. The rest of the special education families just have overworked teachers to turn to, and that isn't fair. That is affecting the non-English speaking families the most. Is there any plan to provide more support? Well, I would like to say I really appreciate this comment as the needs to address the students with exceptional needs, special education and disabilities is so important, and that this distance learning has been very challenging. And I just want to take a moment to just celebrate and appreciate all of the certificated, classified staff, all of the work that they've done, time, strategic support, collaboration, and really that new learning that has taken place to provide these learning opportunities within distance learning. Thank you to all the families for all your patience, your flexibility and support, as I know there's been many areas of need, of frustration and challenges during these times. So thank you so much for supporting your children, our students, in partnership. And thank you for the students for your resilience and your hard work, and just for continuing to work hard. I know it's been difficult. So the focus for the cohort process is bringing back PAC and Walton. Currently, the conversations of returning to in-person learning is for all school sites. So both for specially designed or special day classes, the SDC program, resource classes, and all school sites, those conversations are looking to bring back all students to in-person learning, provide increased supports, as well with the different forms of expanded learning grant forms, in-person instructional grants, and the LCAP process, looking to improve and increase those supports and services being provided to students, especially those students who have special and exceptional needs, those students who are second learners, who are multilingual, and their families, the students who are low income, families in transition, homeless, are unsheltered or unaccompanied, as well as our foster youth and all students as well. So I appreciate that comment. And there is a collective and collaborative process and conversations at many levels looking to address that process of bringing students back, of opening up the schools and providing, experiences to address the learning recovery, accelerated learning, and social emotional needs aligned with the challenges that have presented themselves with distance learning and the challenges that will present themselves moving forward. So we're looking to do it as a community to be very strategic and intentional, and I appreciate that feedback and comment very much. Thank you. And goal number 3 for the LCAP is really focused on building meaningful partnerships, really creating a culture of inclusion. Everyone is involved. Everyone has a space and a place, and is included and collaborative, working together with families and community stakeholders that builds meaningful partnerships focused on increasing student engagement and family and community partnership and participation in support of developing leadership at all levels, so that we're providing these opportunities for students to become the leaders of today, to prepare for their success and supports for tomorrow, and really reflecting on the past to learn about today, to have a better future through working together. And the state priority areas that this goal focuses on are priority 3, parent, guardian, and family involvement, and priority 5, student engagement. And so in goal 3, we're really focusing on parent, guardian, family engagement, supporting the family engagement and education office and all of the great work, outreach, workshops, training, and activities that they provide in organization of facilitation, of parent advisory committee groups and outreach to make sure that we're increasing, including, having outreach, and improving and increasing the involvement that we as a district have with our families, and making sure that we have in that experience lots of translator and interpreter support, as well as resources to provide workshops, trainings, and tools for families to have in their places of residence to support their children, our students, and increasing their academic achievement, their ability to apply and demonstrate what they're learning, and also to have a wellness and health, social emotional state of being that is healthy and supportive. Making sure on the second one, the parent, guardian, family, and school communication, making sure that we have, which our webmaster Justin Swenson does such an amazing job at, of having that outreach, having that up-to-date information, having that easy navigation and access to resources on the district website, the school websites, all of the departmental websites that are there for students, family, and staff to have access to having ongoing surveys, ongoing data analysis tools, ongoing communication, whether that's social media, phone call outreach, what's known as the peach jar, the text messaging, all these different forms of outreach, communication, support, so that as partners, we are both included, we're in the know, and we're excited and partners in supporting students in their academic achievement, their social emotional well-being, and growth and development of their leadership abilities. And then we're talking about leadership abilities, make sure that we have student engagement and leadership opportunities, that we're providing career and technical student organizations, clubs and enrichment, groups such as the Peer Leaders Uniting Students, which is a program that is just amazing, that is both at the elementary, the middle school, the high school level, providing those opportunities to have conversations, to have partnerships, to have experiences that build student leaders and make them the drivers of the change, development, and the voice of the learning experiences in the school and culture climate that we have at the schools that we're providing across the district. Making sure that we have visual and performing arts activities, teachers and resources, and making sure that we have ongoing access to athletics and enrichment opportunities for sports, and then student attendance and accountability. Making sure that we have our amazing child and welfare and attendance team who goes out and does home visits, phone calls, outreach, access to resources, anything that they can do to make sure that the challenges and barriers that families and students are being presented with can help to be addressed, to make sure that students are coming to school every day, that families are aware of the importance of daily attendance, that students are being provided with bus passes to have access to school if they need extra support for transportation. That we have a central enrollment that does an amazing job at making sure that students are being enrolled, that students have the ability to transfer to different schools to meet the needs of the students and families, that right when they're enrolling, they have access to special education departments and access to the enrollment of both the IEP needs aligned with that student, as well as the foster youth and families in transition needs right when they're enrolling. So that extra layer of resources and support and staff. And then as well as our Native American and Indigenous Center, who does an amazing job with a small staff with great outreach to our students who are identified as Native American or Indigenous, and increasing their abilities to increase student attendance, increase wellness, increase community and cultural connections and celebrations, and making sure that they have the supports both during school, during high school, and then while they're in college as well to be successful. And so please, I'll take this time to look if there's any questions and answer them to the best of my abilities. Put in the chat any suggestions, feedback, input you have about how as a district we can increase or improve the ways in which we are addressing the meaningful partnerships of building leadership opportunities for all our students, in increasing student engagement and increasing family, parent, and guardian participation, and really focusing on increasing student attendance and increasing student graduation rates. Let's see here. Let's see. It says, sorry. It says, estoy muy contenta de saber que habrá clases de verano, ya que este año ha sido muy difícil. Gracias por la oportunidad que le están ofreciendo a nuestros estudiantes. So really making sure, the classes get very difficult and have a lot of work. And really making sure that we have the supports for the students. So we're going to make sure that we increase those supports, both for the families and the students. I really appreciate this feedback and this comment, and really making sure that we have the opportunities offering to students, especially students who are multilingual, to provide leadership opportunities, arts experiences, opportunities to be a part of a club, opportunities to have access to sports, access to music and drama and choir, and all these different enrichment opportunities that are so important to both academics and social emotional parts of the student experience. Really appreciate that comment very much and your participation and feedback. Thank you. The family engagement team is fantastic. Putting them in charge of special education family engagement would really show families that this district supports us. So I appreciate that comment very much. The family engagement and education team works closely with the special education department, and I'm sure on their ongoing collaboration and outreach, they will continue to find ways to increase and improve the district support provided to families of students with exceptional needs and disabilities. So I appreciate that, and we'll make sure to share that. Next, the family engagement department is amazing for sure. Appreciate that. With our partnership with the San Joaquin County Office of Education, our district 5th and 6th graders have been able to attend the awesome science camp program up at Jones Gulch, new location for next year, for 5+ years. I've attended these LCAP forums and continue to suggest that our district provides some type of subsidy to help lower the cost of extracurricular programs. This past year, pre-COVID, our students, where did it go? Sorry. Our students were asked to pay $325 each. This is a huge cost that does not help build inclusion. There are many routes the district can take to offer and provide a discount. I would be happy to help on any committee or meeting to discuss these opportunities. Oops, where'd it go? Science camp. That disappeared. Science camp is a perfect opportunity for goal number 3 to increase and include our involvement with their families for their unique camp in our area. $325 is just a crazy cost, and about 50% of our 5th, 6th graders are able to attend each year. Please help. Thanks. Yes, there's definitely conversations that have been shared both last year as these comments and suggestions were made, and this year about addressing the need to provide ways to provide access to science camp for students, specifically students who have different challenges and barriers due to various reasons to access science camp. And it's a great opportunity, and I'll definitely make sure to continue to share that inclusion. And if there's some committee developed, make sure to include you as well in that process. So thank you. For VAPA, Visual and Performing Arts, is there talk to have a high school VAPA budget? Also, any talk about helping our high schools, mariachi, and bands buy uniforms? I read through many school site plans and did not see support for VAPA. Is there a plan to get support from the district to help funds? Also, does LCAP with facilities? Our auditoriums are a mess in our district. Really appreciate this comment. For VAPA, there is ongoing, for Visual and Performing Arts, aligned with local control funding formula LCFF funds within the LCAP. The feedback has been ongoing from stakeholders about the needs to address the resources aligned with VAPA needs, such as mariachi and band uniform supports. So that conversation has been happening and has been included in development of what possibly those funds in the budget will support. School plan for student achievement, the SIPSs, the site plans are site autonomous plans that are developed by the school sites, collective with their community. So I definitely would suggest taking part in those school site council, those English Learner Advisory Committee meetings, as those are where those conversations happen. And those are where sites identify how they're using their funds. So they definitely have the ability to utilize those ability of the site funds to support the areas of arts, visual performing arts and areas, and all the areas to support students and families and staff. So that's a site-based conversation. And when it comes to the transportation budget and facilities, that's definitely a conversation that's ongoing. And my understanding is the executive cabinet of the district is looking at ways to create a plan to identify what the needs are and what sites by age are the oldest and have not had updates with facilities, and create sort of a strategic plan of how that's going to be addressed and how those facilities are going to be updated and supported. So appreciate those comments very much and the feedback. And so talking about feedback and input, some of the following areas have been the ones that have been consistently brought up, shared within the engagement forums, focus groups, surveys, heard through site-based discussions, and provided by all the different stakeholders from students, certificated and classified staff, parents, guardians, and family members and community members, is one, making sure to have increased and improved access to counselors and mental health professionals, to increase student access to art and music experiences, increase after-school options for academic support and enrichment, to have social emotional learning lessons provided to students, to really increase the options and the times and locations for parent, guardian, family workshops and training, to increase school-to-home communication, to provide incentives for student meetings, so when student meeting their attendance and academic goals, to have inclusion opportunities and academic support for students with exceptional needs beyond just recess and PE, but really having mindful and strategic ways to include and increase inclusion of students with exceptional needs throughout the school day. Connecting classroom learning to real world and job-based skills and experiences, to increase professional development for instructional staff focused on meeting the differentiated learning needs of students, to improve access to curriculum and technology for students, to have interpreters and translators at family meetings, to increase classroom learning supplies for students, and make sure we have healthy, safe, and inclusive learning environments. And I think as we've heard today, these themes are the ones that are the common threads and common forms of things that are brought up. And I appreciate your feedback, value your comments and input, greatly welcome your questions, and hope that I've answered them in a clear and way of addressing those inquiry and questions that you have presented today. And continue to see that the three areas that when we're talking about academics, when we're talking about community and college and career readiness, we're talking about advancement of equitable learning environments and academic experiences that are focused on social emotional development. These three columns focus on the ways that we continue as an LCAP process, a local control and accountability plan of the services, the supports, the increased or improved supplemental above and beyond those base resources and services provided to address those challenges and diverse needs of our high priority students, really principally making sure that we're increasing or improving the access and supports provided to our foster youth, our low income, our English learners, our students with exceptional needs, our families in transition, unaccompanied, unsheltered, homeless youth, as well as making sure that we're addressing the needs of all of our students and our student groups. That data continues to show a need to increase their academic achievement, increase their daily student attendance, increase the ways in which we're preparing and providing resources to students and families and staff to make sure that students are enrolled in their high schools prepared for that rigor, that challenging academic experience, and then graduate from high school with the college and career readiness indicators met so that they can, if they so choose, enroll in the college of their choice, get the career and job of their dreams and that they desire, and live in a community prepared to be successful as a leader and community member within that leader. So again, I really appreciate your involvement and your support. Your voice really matters. Your input and feedback are greatly valued. And you are partners in the process of how, as a district, we provide the academic and social emotional services to our students, provide workshops, inclusion, and partnerships for our families, and provide professional learning, professional development, and the resources to our classified and certificated staff. And together, as a community, we provide those learning experiences that really prepare all of our students for college, career, and community readiness. So I'll pause here to answer any questions or comments that you have. Please know that the next LCAP stakeholder engagement will take place on May 13th. That's a Thursday, and it'll be from 6 to 7:30 at night. And we will send the link out for you to be able to register and connect to that event. Again, the LCAP stakeholder engagement, that will be May 13th. And that's when we'll be able to share up to that point the development of what that budget looks like and provide some actual budgetary numbers and clear actions and services with the development of all your feedback you continue to have been providing in this whole process this year. So thank you again. I will go through the chat and the questions and answer any questions or answers that are there. And then we will have a raffle as well. And again, I just appreciate everyone's involvement. I want to, again, before I answer the questions, thank our amazing webmaster, Justin Swenson, for all of his support, collaboration, and just putting this webinar together with all the logistics, the outreach. He just does an amazing job as the webmaster of our whole district. And then our amazing interpreter, translation specialist, Carmen Lopez Lozano, who is just, I appreciate so much, and thank you so much for all of the services that you provide to families, students, and staff. So the first question that I see is, I was wondering if the project Lead the Way for all students or only smart kids. I appreciate that question. I would respond with in Stockton Unified School District, and I hope in all school districts, our belief and our focus is that all students are smart, all students are intelligent, and Project Lead the Way is for all students within that school district who are enrolled in that elective. So Project Lead the Way is an experience where teachers are actually trained in that specific science, technology, and engineering math offering. And then students that enroll in that elective or choose to have access to that process have the ability to take part. So I appreciate that question, and definitely the inclusion and embracing the idea that all of our students are creative, innovative, intelligent, and smart. We appreciate that. Next one. I just want to say, I always appreciate your willingness to listen to all families. You are patient and you really allow for us to be a part of our students' education. You are a bright spot in the school district. Thank you, Dr. Sloan. Well, I greatly appreciate that comment so much. I'm just humbled and honored to be a servant to students, to be an educational leader that hopefully models by example of the expectations that we have for all students to have the access to the love for learning that they deserve, and the supports that all classified certificated staff and families deserve and need, and community members to be partners in this process. So just thank you very much for that comment. Thank you for your time, your involvement, your feedback, and for being here today. I really appreciate that comment greatly. Next comment, thank you, Dr. Sloan, for caring so much about our SUSD students. Thank you for your positivity and for acknowledging all our questions, concerns, and comments. Again, you're very welcome. It is my honor and to just serve the students of our district, to support the classified and certificated staff, and to work in partnership and support our parents, guardians, and family members and community members. So thank you very much for that. I will look in the chat. Project, let's see here. Oh, thank you very much. There's more. I appreciate the positive comments. Thank you, Dr. Sloan and his team. We recognize your hard work and efforts. Really appreciate that comment, and thank you and everyone else for everything you do every day for our students, and I appreciate that. Gracias, Dr. Sloan, por escucharnos siempre y levar nuestros sugerencias al distro. Oh, thank you very much for being a family leader in our district. And thank you very much. It's my honor to provide services in this district. Thank you. This was great. Thank you for cultivating transparency and trust and engagement. I'm proud to be part of the SUSD community. Well, I really appreciate that comment, and it just makes me so happy for everyone to be proud of our community. And thank you for your trust. And I appreciate your engagement, and it's all about doing it together. We are a team together. And then it says, thank you, Connor. It's an honor to be part of this team with you. And I just like to say again, thank you all for taking part in today. Thank you for your leadership and your involvement. And thank you for your passion and your dedication for supporting students and each other and leaning in and on one another during these times that have been very challenging due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I just appreciate each and every one of you greatly. We will do the wheel now, which is our raffle. Please make sure we're going to be raffling off 3 of our tablets, our Fire 7 tablets. I will take down the names of the 3 winners and be emailing you and reaching out to you and finding a way to provide you with that tablet. Again, you guys are all winners, and I just really appreciate your involvement. And thank you again for just having the flexibility and the patience and support of being partners in supporting students within the Stockton Unified School District. So here is the wheel for the first winner of the tablet. And as it spins, the first winner is F. Riviera at StocktonUSD.net. Thank you very much. And I'll make sure for your participation, I'll be reaching out to you. We'll do the next one. And so the next winner of the tablet, and again, thank you everyone for your participation, is Kay Prisock at Stockton Unified School District. Thank you so much for your participation. And I will be reaching out to you. And then the third and final is, I believe, our interim superintendent, Mr. John Ramirez Jr. at Stockton Unified School District.net. Thank you for your participation, and I will make sure to connect you and walk down the hallway and provide you with your tablet. So thank you again, everyone, for your participation, for your feedback, for your input. Stockton Unified School District as a whole really values your feedback, your voice. We support and are honored to serve the needs of all students, support and celebrate the great work of all the certificated and classified staff, and appreciate and value all the parents, guardians, and family member and the support and partnership you provide your children, our students. And thank you, community members as a whole, for your support as well.